Thank you very much for the opportunity just to say something. I won't take too much of your time. Arafura is very pleased to be able to support the proceedings that have gone on the last 2 days. It was a bit of a funny situation when Mike rang me, because I haven't seen Mike for a number of years, but as soon as he did, I knew he was up to something. So anyway, it's a good opportunity, and it's interesting to hear some of the speakers today. And I know Sarah raised the issue of, the beef industry feels that it's under the pump. Guess what? They're not alone, I can assure you. Peter touched on the ESG stuff, okay? Arafura is going to start a mine out here. It's about 12 kilometres that way, okay? And it's going to produce rare earths, and you would have had the opportunity to see some of that. That's all about energy efficiency. That's really what it's the driver for. But what we're finding, or what we have found, is that for us to be competitive in the marketplace, we've got to have a great big tick against ESG. It's just imperative to our business. There is no getting around it. We're not trying to be cute or smart or anything else. We do it anyway. It's just trying to be good citizens. But it's absolutely mandatory if you want to sell your product, particularly into Europe or Southeast Asia, which is where this stuff goes, to be used predominantly in the electric vehicle industry, in wind turbines and those particular applications. It's an imperative, and if you can't tick the boxes, they won't even talk to you. You won't even get in the door. It's literally where it is right now. So we've gone to the trouble with the project we've done an ESG audit, and we're okay. We haven't ticked every box, and it's a journey. So if you start it, it's a journey. You'll not tick them all from day one, but it's okay as long as you identify and have a plan, and that's exactly what we've done. So that's just an idea. That's where you guys are there at Aileron. So 12 k's out there, there'll be an open cut mine which will employ approximately 300 people, and it's got a mine life of around, at this point in time, 38 years, okay? So we're not going to produce a lot of material. We take 1 million tonnes of rock, of ore, and we produce 4,500 tonnes of the raw material that goes in to make the magnets that you had the opportunity to see out on the table. So that's all it is, 1 million down to 4,500. But that is somewhere between 5 and 10% of the world's requirement for that particular metal, okay? What we're finding, and what our potential customers are saying to us now, though, is it's not just good enough to sell them the raw material, okay? They want us to certify that material was mined sustainably, which I don't know quite how we can do that, because it's a finite resource, but we've got to be able to certify that we've got all the environmental approvals in place, we've got the approvals with the traditional owners in place, the government supports it, we've had to do all of that, and that's okay, that's what we normally do anyway. But now they're saying we want you to be able to provide provenance on the material, okay? So we've now gone to the trouble that we can actually dig up the rock, make the rare earths oxide. We'll send it to a factory in either Thailand or Vietnam. They'll convert it to metal, and then we'll sign a certificate that said that block of metal came from Nolan's Bore. There's your certificate, thank you very much. And that's the only way they'll do business with us, okay? That's the extent of where it's gone now in the mining industry, and that's just going to be the new norm, I think. So it's really interesting. Just to relate some of the things that went on, I was really enjoyed the practical stuff. You know, we're going to build some reasonably big hills out here at some point once we've started mining. You know, we're going to produce waste rock, and we've done a lot of work in terms of understanding the characteristics of the rock, its erodibility. We've done a lot of surveys on the topsoils to understand how they're going to behave, what we can do before we start to maximise the seed and the organic matter in that soil. So that's all been planned. We're going to strip all the vegetation and store all of that for future use and rehabilitation. We've done a lot of work on the water because we know water is critical. So when we build infrastructure, we're very cognizant of the fact that we're going to put obstacles in the road to make sure that natural drainage flows where natural drainage wants to flow. We're not going to obstruct that. So a huge amount of work. It's all around trying to manage our impact on the environment. So we don't want to leave a bad legacy behind, I can assure you. We want this project to be good for everybody. And that's what we're doing. One of the downsides of this project is we use water, and we use quite a bit of water. So we've gone to a lot of effort to find a water supply, and it's down here. Can you just put the other map up for me for a second, the second one? And we used a fair bit of science to find that water. I won't use the language that was used at us in the bar at the Roadhouse when we started this work. The pastoralist that used to live on the next station was an old water driller, and he took us to task when we started to tell us that we were wasting shareholders' money looking down there. Everyone knows there's no water. So what this represents is geophysical exploration that was done to find minerals. Okay? So we got hold of all of the different surveys that had been done, we joined them all together, we reprocessed it, and that map there represents a conductance map, how conductive the rocks are under the surface. Okay? Minerals conduct electricity, water conducts electricity, salty water really bloody conducts electricity, okay? So we've reversed the colours. Where it's blue, that means there's rock and it's near the surface and it's not conductive, okay? It's just rock. Where it's yellow, it means it's a bit more conductive. Where it's red, it's bloody conductive. That, for instance, is Lake Lewis, okay? That's the edge of the Tea Tree Basin. And Craig and Sarah, they run a block up there called Ulu. We haven't got the information over that, but you've got plenty of water up there. But what we found was that we could see a pattern down here, and it looked like a drainage pattern. And it is. At this end of the drainage pattern, it's 80 metres to the rock underneath, to the hard rock, what we call basement. At this end, we couldn't hit the rock. We drilled to 218 metres and there was so much water we couldn't go any further. It's quite amazing. So we've got a good understanding of this system. We're going to have a bore field that's spread out to spread the load, and we'll produce the water supply for the project from that buried basin. It's an ancient paleo channel. And when we drilled it, the drillers were going crook because down here they were 200 metres and they were hitting well, I call them bundies, big rocks, and they're rolling around underneath the drill bits and they couldn't get through them. A real problem. But to give you some idea of how much water's there, in that hole there, when we were near the bottom, we were pumping out 72 litres of water every second. Couldn't move it. Okay? Now, we're not going to pump it at anything like that rate, don't get me wrong, but there's a lot of water there, there's a lot of sediments there. So there's water in this country, you've just got to find it. And that's the stuff that now Geoscience Australia is doing on a much, much broader scale. And we had the good fortune to be able to show a couple of politicians through here a few weeks ago and showed them this. And they went, oh, maybe we should put more money into water exploration. Didn't realise you could get this level of detail. Boom, boom, because they haven't been shown how to do it properly. So it's a really good technique. It worked really well for us. It's not cheap, I'll tell you now, but it is a tool that can be used. But really good, really pleased to be part of it. We learned a lot from seeing what's going on and talking to people. It's been excellent. And I just, again, want to say thank you very much for the opportunity.